There is a positive relationship between the price and quantity supplied, holding everything else constant is the law of supply. And it can be presented through three different ways. The first being the supply schedule. As you can see from the supply schedule, when the price of good X increases from 10 to 15, all the individual suppliers, Upuli, Vajrani and Lasanthi, have also increased their quantity supplied. And you can see the total market supply, assuming there are only 3 producers for this particular product, then also have increased from 550 to 850, corresponding to the increase of price from 10 to 15. It can also be illustrated by a supply curve. Here it would be the price, this quantity supplied, 0. Assuming that this is Upuli's supply curve, as you can see, this is the price from 10 to 15. This has increased from 100 to 150. There is not much of an increase from 100 to 150, but still there is actually a positive relationship. When the price increases, the quantity supply has increased. Now, if you look at Lasanthi's supply, for the price of 10, it was actually 150. So it would be here, the dot, price of 10, 150. And for price of 15, it was 300. So assuming it's like here, you jot it down as 300. So these are the 2 points, so you'd be able to connect it. It would be something like that. So it is also positive, but the degree is higher actually. So the coefficient would be higher, and here the slope is actually much more straighter here. So as you can see, there is an increase in both cases, but the degree of increase, as you can see, the Lasanthi's one is much higher. So now the third way to actually illustrate the positive relationship between the price and quantity supplied is actually from the supply equation. And supply equation can be written as, because quantity supplied is the dependent variable, so quantity supplied, so don't be confused with the supply curve, because normally it is being jotted price as the y-axis, but in the equation it is being written correctly. So quantity supplied would be A plus difference in quantity over difference in price into price. So you can see that price and quantity supply, and this is the coefficient of the equation. So there is a positive relationship between quantity supplied and price by this equation itself. You can see a positive sign, so it will be a positive slope. Now the question here is that why does a supply slope upwards? What is the reason? Because what is the reason behind it? Because we introduced the law of supply and the determinants of supply in our previous lesson, but we never clearly explained why there is a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. For this, we need to actually go back to our first module on production possibility frontier and the law of increasing opportunity cost. Now, producers faced with limited resources must choose between various production scenarios. In a market with only 2 goods, say good X and also good Y, there are 3 possible options. Produce all good X and no Y, produce all Y and no X, or produce some X and some Y. These options are illustrated by the production possibility frontier, which we have actually discussed extensively in module 1. So the cost of options not taken is the opportunity cost. As production of a given good increases, in this example the good X increases, opportunity cost increases because of resource variability. Resource variability is the idea that all inputs are not equal. Some are better for producing certain goods, in this example good X, than there are for producing other goods. So as more of an input that is better for producing Y than X goes into the production of X, then the opportunity cost rises for producing X as the production efficiency decreases and price increases. we have seen an example where there are businessmen, and for example there are people who can make furnitures, and also who are capable of doing agriculture. When you employ everyone to make furnitures, the farmers, the expert farmers, they won't be able to produce more of furniture. So this would be increase the cost of producing furnitures later on. So the law of increasing opportunity cost is the fundamental to the law of supply. The law of supply states that as the price of a good increases, the quantity of that good supplied increases. Thus, increasing opportunity cost results in increased price and increased in supply. So when more and more goods are supplied, then it is going, because of law of increasing opportunity cost, it is going to affect the price again, and the price will start soaring upwards. So the curve will always be sloping upwards, never downwards. So that is the relationship why of that is the positive relationship between price and quantity supplied. And what is the reason behind that? The supply curve would always slope upwards.